And I'm back with some scratching to daily, number 586, part 2, where we're looking at this cool build from GuMiho. In part 1, we explored this notion of researching some timings, and we got the chance to see the way that this build deals with some of these timings. I think the most significant one and simplest to see is we have our defense up for the 4 gate, and we strike them with our Marine Mine Medevac drop before this happens and before this happens, which provides a very useful timing that most Protoss players will be very frustrated by. It will force them to be very defensive. Even these things, these 2 base Colossus Stalker all-ins, this is the ideal timing with an unaffected Protoss player. So even our 6 minute 30 second mine drop can mess with this too. So what I want to show in this game was something a little different. Same opening from GuMiho, somewhat different situation. So we can see these timings at work elsewhere. I actually will not go into the vision for GuMiho because I want to make sure I can occasionally bounce back up here. So GuMiho does the usual thing. No scout, gas, barracks. Going for the ultra fast stuff. Velmu is doing the swift probe scout to check up into the main base. And what comes after a barracks, a factory, and a command center? You might wonder to yourself, when does the Zealot and Stalker hit? And I said yesterday, I said in part 1, you can go research it, but it's around 5 minutes. 1 Zeal, 1 Stalker arriveth. Around there, I might even go so far as to say 4:45 is probably a better time to use. 5 is for a larger map. But if he really wanted to getcha, that's when he'd arrive there, and we can still see, based upon this. Ah, yeah. So in my head, I would be like, oh, alright, well this is even helping defend that. Still not a scout in sight. And what do you know at the 4 minute and 30 second mark? That's exactly when we see our good friend SCV moving out. Probe at the front, Stalker trying to clear things up. But we slip out undetected. So we actually see that this mine pops out at 4:45. Ah, nice. So, alright, I am going to go to the GuMiho cam for a minute because I don't want to hold the V button for too long and get accused by Windows of having sticky keys. Still but a single geyser. And we're wondering to ourselves, God, can we move out? Can we move out? Can we move out? I really want to move out. I really hope that I can move out. And boom! Expo spotted! Thank goodness. Velmu is doing really standard. 1 Stalker, 1 Sentry, straight to Robotics Facility Tech, Mothership Core up. GuMiho doing the usual thing, moving out a touch earlier to clear watchtowers to make sure that he can join with this a slight tad earlier. I'll also emphasize that GuMiho is getting the reactor on the barracks, is getting the tech lab on the factory, has not yet gotten the expand. The ordering was a little different in the last game. Functionally, this is about the same. It's, again, not super precise, non-EWA levels of precision. This is sort of a conceptually awesome thing. Because we're noting, oh, in these normal timings, 7 minutes is around when he should have the gates and robo done. How did I find that? I just watched 2 or 3 games and just said, I think it's 7. And be comfortable with that level of hand-waviness or... there was a really funny derogatory term for that I can't remember. Feel free to have slightly flimsy-floozy timings. That's okay. Just, it's better to say, I think that his gateways and robos are done at 7 minutes. It's better to have that and be a little bit off than to have nothing and to go into a game cold. So this, well, I didn't just pull it straight out of my ass. I pulled it out of a replay. Slightly different. One of them is an S. Okay, so great. We also see that this attack timing is going to strike him, wow, very early. Very, very early. So here we are moving out.
Our
GuMiho
SCV
ends up in this
responded.
base, and what do you know? Oh, absolutely nothing here. Nothing at all. Because it's not 7 minutes yet, these things aren't done. Wow, it looks like our 7-minute timing seems pretty cool. Other things popping out, Viking, Marines. The Viking is the observer killer. It's very fair to say that often, if I arrive at this time in the base and I see this setup, I would just cancel the Viking. I pretty much know what he's up to. This is just going to be an observer killer for the time being. So, you know, GuMiho does commit to it. He actually does get... Jeez, how much did he kill? Holy crap. Okay, it doesn't have to go that well. You can just bait a single photon overcharge, and that will do some significant damage. Because he doesn't have 2 photon overcharges. I think that this attack would have been better if it was 1 mine here, and then run over here and 1 mine here. Or 1 mine, wait for the photon overcharge, and then boost up like that. Regardless, we're seeing some cool formations that can occur. So remember that factory? I actually want to come back and look at the story of a factory. Once upon a time, I was a player by the name of GuMiho. I had my factory ready in case he had a whole bunch of gateway timings ready to strike me with. My wonderful factory would service me with a siege tank to prevent any gateway pressure. However, upon arriving in his main base, I realized, wait a minute, you're going to have observers. Fast Colossus, but not a lot of units. I need no factory whatsoever. Or excuse me, I need no siege tanks whatsoever. Therefore, what can I do? I can simply do the swap off, get the Raven. Come on, get the damn Raven. Get the Raven, GuMiho! I can just get a Raven, which will detect observers, and I can kill that off with my Viking, therefore completely denying the value that Velmu gets out of this robo facility. Seeing the adjustment? Are you seeing the adjustment? Pretty good, right? If you see robo, the gateways are late, we get the Raven and the Viking, we can kill it off. Cool. Oh my god. Everyone's using colored text in the chat. This is insanity. Let me see if I can do this. Uh-oh. 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 Oh my god. Welcome to the chat, ladies and gentlemen. You're missing out. Alright. I'm gonna come on back to this game. I like building numbers. Like first, I get 111 set up, 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. And then I know these are the add-ons that I would like. And then I know to get 2 barracks. It's okay for these barracks to be late because the Raven Viking exploits the fast factory way more than additional barracks do. Still gonna be doing their bats the same things, buildings, tanks, gettings, upgrades, harassing, poking, chicka-chacking. This is cool. GuMiho checks the gas geyser. Now you might say to yourself, well gee, why are those gas geysers so damn late for Velmu? Comes back to, whoops, this concept that we've been looking at again and again at the 6-minute timing mark. Units, counting stations. If we go for the drops, he's got to get more the stalkers. He's got to get stalkers. He's got to get more stalkers. Generally speaking. He actually has not gotten the extra stalkers, but he should if we're applying a little bit more pressure. This is dangerous. Oh, I know why. I'm sorry. He lost 12 workers. That's... Let me explain that. If you're Protoss and you if the Terran sacrifices all these units to kill off the workers, then sorry, let me try it again. If the Terran sacrifices all his drop stuff to kill off workers, like what happened in this game, you're going to mess him up mineral-wise. If you move in and move back again and do that sort of darting in and out, like what we saw last game, then the Protoss is forced to build Stalkers. Either way, you're doing economic damage. So, okay, cool. You know, we saw in our notes that, you know, 7 to 8 minutes is generally when he got some kind of tech. This is delayed thanks to our drop. So we know that should we be performing some type of 11-minute push, we'll be in pretty good condition. GuMiho actually does not have very clean and elegant timings with a lot of his buildings. Has plenty of room to improve, but this is such a well thought out style and has such strong responses that GuMiho's fine. GuMiho's absolutely fine. So last but not least, a little bit more medevac dropping. Oh hey, there's the Stalkers that we forced him to make a little bit. This will mess with his tech. It doesn't look like it is being as messed with, but note, these Stalkers were the 3 extra gateways that we would normally anticipate our Protoss player to have. So, wow, this is looking really similar to the normal case. Normal play is 11 minutes with extra gates, 1-1, Colossus out, and in this game we have like 1 Colossus, we don't have range, and we don't have the extra gates. There's the extra gates starting right now. So truly, this actually does hit at a vulnerable timing. Also, I will just note that siege tanks are pretty gosh darn good. This is just a pretty gosh darn good timing. Even if you watch the show and just thought, God, timings are hard, I'm not even going to think about that at all. It's fine. This is just a good timing. Seeker missile, having some extra utility. So we want to mess with our opponent as much as possible. Very rarely will our opponent actually have Zealot leg charge in this position. And if he does, we actually are in pretty good position with Marine-Tank. It's just a very solid composition in small numbers. But if the damage starts getting dealt, such as in this case, GuMiho can just take another base. Something that I like that GuMiho does is that he is adding on more barracks to sort of keep up aggression, rather than going for these extra bases. And that's because the tanks don't have the mobility to easily defend this base and this base at the same time. That's more what Marines and Marauders are needed for, so this is actually quite a safe option. But GuMiho is just able to do an almost immediate follow-up attack, based upon the stim and the other one, the other plus armor timing. So our primary goal in this spot is to absolutely ensure that he does not get a third. To strike him when his Colossus count is low. This is destroying the Protoss before he ever has a lot of Storm, a lot of Gateway units, a lot of Colossus. Just really good timing. Just really good timing. So I am going to go load up one last game that we're going to watch between GuMiho and Sage. Hopefully my sound's still working. Yeah, one last game from DreamHack between GuMiho and Sage to show yet actually a very different type of opening. Looks like we're good. Thank you. Cool. No sound goes down. So once again, this is from the DreamHack Stockholm 2013 replay pack. So you can Google it. So Sage is down here. He's going to be doing smart things. GuMiho's up here. We already see a difference. He's going barracks gas, not gas barracks. What could it be? What does it mean? Ah! Okay, so that's fine. We'll go through it. Reaper coming up first. Very common opening. Permits us to scout. We see, wow, an entirely different scout timing from GuMiho than in the other circumstance. Reaper used to contain a sort of expected common transition. trying to exploit a player who goes for an O2 early Nexus by sending a Reaper in the back. This will, I mean, the best response to this is a Stalker, but it will by no means force the opponent to make additional Stalkers. This is just a more economic version where we get up our expand. Same logic though, GuMiho will be just getting this 1-1-1 formation up. Most traditionally, players will be going for the Marine Marauder medevac out of this formation. That's what's really common nowadays, but GuMiho going down the tank route. And would have himself a slightly more interesting timing. The general description of what's happening right here is GuMiho is guaranteeing himself that this attack will do less damage and that his follow-up play will do more damage. This is the obvious trade-off with, you know, ever going for command center early on. And of course a third command center to assist with some funding. So let's look at what GuMiho has seen thus far. Really not a lot. This has to be the scout. Sage is doing some against some sort of funky Oracle timing stuffs. And this is why we love this frickin' drop. If for some reason our opponent doesn't have the appropriate defense up, we kill him. This drop kind of has a surprisingly high percentage for just good old straight up wins. Whatever tech path he's going down, it's going to force him to get a robotics facility. Even in the normal case that we saw in the last game, we're in pretty dang good shape. I think the Oracle did do some damage. No, none at all. That is one of the big strengths of this sort of play, is that we're in really good condition against Oracles. They kind of have to pull back. So then GuMiho, rather than just getting 2 barracks, just throws down 4 right away. Big ol' army coming out. Vikings already done right on time. See you later, maybe? Nope, yep, he's just gonna go home. You know what? I'm actually just going to go to part 3 right now. I'm just going to stop because we've seen this opening, and we come back in part 3. We're going to wrap this game up, take questions, and that'll be a short daily. No reason to stretch it out more than it needs to be. Just a nice little drop. We'll be back in just a sec.